Today's May Marine Madness is a film that is probably fairly well known. I'm pretty sure the majority of you have already seen it. It is 1999's Lake Placid. We do have Bridget Fonda, Bill Pullman, Oliver Platt. It is an extremely wonderful cast. I think it is a great movie. It also has a lot of quirky, offbeat characters, a lot of sarcastic banter. Best of all, Betty White is actually in the film, and she is just the most funniest, rudest, sarcastic old lady I've ever seen. It's definitely a really great film. It begins with Bridget Fonda's character being sent out from New York to Maine to investigate a fossil, or something that is suspected to have been a fossil, a fossilized tooth. Once getting there, she discovers that it is an actual tooth from a living organism still. So we have to deal with a lot of her snootiness, since she's never been out, obviously, in the country. She's also dealing with a breakup, and she has to deal in this environment that is solely men. So she eventually does go out. She does loosen up gradually. She's not so rigid. Eventually she does fall for the main lead character, obviously Bill Pullman, who plays a ranger investigating all of these missing beavers and all of these other killings which are going on. We also have Oliver Platt's character, who is a mythology professor who likes, for some reason, swimming with crocodiles. Eventually the creature is caught. Of course, we do have just a great many events in the meantime, as far as Bridget Fonda's character constantly having severed heads thrown at her, just real ridiculous freakouts, and occasionally slapping people. Betty White's character obviously has been keeping the crocodile in secret. She has been feeding it. Earlier in the film, they do see Betty White luring a cow to feed it to the crocodile. This later does assist with trying to decide a method to capture it. So they do take one of her cows. She is obviously extremely displeased about this. They attach it to a harness and dangle it from a plane. And despite the fact that it might have been scary for the cow, I think it's just absolutely adorable. It's just such a cute scene. Obviously, in the end, the crocodile does become entangled in the helicopter. So technically it was captured and will be taken away to safety. And in a surprise ending, we discover that there was actually a second crocodile, and that one is basically blown to smithereens. The second Lake Placid was released in 2007. It was produced by Sony Pictures. I have absolutely no idea. It was in conjunction with Sci-Fi, so it is a made-for-TV film. And the quality definitely does show. The film opens up with basically the same format. We have the opening aerial shots, all the scenic nonsense and whatnot. In this film, Betty White's sister has taken over the home. She is now feeding the crocodiles. And once again, they are trying to figure out what is going on, what's causing all of these killings. The crocodile in this one, I just really do not care for. They just heavily rely on a CG. It moves ridiculously fast when obviously a 30-foot crocodile cannot move that fast. They're faster in water than they are in land, so shame on you, Sci-Fi. That's not even scientifically accurate. The film is also heavily on nudity, which is pretty common for low-budget films. Obviously, if the story is lousy, you throw in a few boobies just to keep people's interest, and other than that, there really wasn't anything too great about the film. It mostly focuses on a group of teenagers who were out camping by the lake. They're now being pursued by a crocodile, picked off one by one. There really is no story whatsoever other than some horrible CG croc going around chewing on people. I did not care for this one at all. The third Lake Placid was also released in 2007. That one was solely produced by Sci-Fi. Obviously, by that time, nobody wanted to touch that mess. And the third film, as far as between the two made-for-TV movies, the third one is the better of the two. It's not anything spectacular, but there actually is a story this time. So we do have a family who has moved to the same home where the former old lady who was feeding the crocodiles once lived. They were obviously relatives. They are going out to sell the home. And the ranger, his Weasley little son, discovers the crocodile. This one is a smaller one, but he keeps it a secret. He's been feeding it since obviously he wants a pet. This is quickly discovered though when the babysitter's dog is eaten by a crocodile. She is also attacked, and you would assume she would have died. One of the surprising things about Lake Placid 3 to me was the fact that Yancy Butler was in the film. She does play a tracker. She is still a really good actress. I really admire and respect her, but I will always remember her for Witchblade. That's definitely one of the best or favorite roles that she's ever played. And like I said, it is the better of the two. So we do discover there are four crocodiles. They're not as large, but large enough. One of them has also laid eggs. Gradually, all of the characters which do come into play are dwindled back down. All we have left is the ranger, his son, and his ex-wife. So we do end in somewhat of a happy ending, as obviously the ranger and the ex-wife do decide to get back together. But obviously, I didn't care too much for either of the sequels. I don't care too much to go into detail with them. It's basically one of those late night movies if you're feeling lonely and frisky and you want to watch bare-chested women. FYI, the second film is probably the better one to go with. But that is pretty much all I have for you today, and I will talk to you later.